when I was first given the opportunity to audition for TEDxWhitneyHigh, I had never watched a TED or TEDx talk, let alone know what TED Talk was. But I told my parents, and they were genuinely excited for me, and told me it would be a great experience regardless of the outcome. So, I agreed. With no other prompt than talk about space, I wondered, what could I do with such an ambiguous word like space? I know. I'll go the Star Trek route. Space, the final frontier. But that kind of space and its infinite possibilities, I felt like I'd just get trapped in a black hole of talking points. And then the Swiftie in me thought, maybe I could do a play on Taylor Swift's hit song, Blank Space. But then I literally drew a blank. Not to mention, I don't have any names to write in that blank space, at least not yet. With the audition day nearing, I started to run out of time and ideas. What about space was I going to talk about? Space, 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 and nothing. And then it hit me, like a light bulb turning on in my head. What's going to get me on this stage is what has always gotten me through tough times. A confident headspace. Audition day came. As if I wasn't already nervous enough about whether I chose a good space topic to talk about. I also was informed that I was the first sixth grader to ever audition. Talk about nerve-wracking. But I ended up delivering my speech, answering a few questions, and walked out of there with no expectations. But hey, even though I didn't have any expectations, I would never pass up an opportunity to talk in front of people. And that has a lot to do with my past. Whenever I think of a confident headspace, I think of that little girl I used to be. I've been told that when I was 2, I was a talker. I spoke and comprehended over 24 words, which was pretty good for a 2-year-old. But one day, I lost my voice. I was no longer able to communicate or understand anything anyone was saying anymore. Well, it's pretty obvious this was a problem. So my parents had me evaluated, and I ended up spending time with some wonderful people who helped me get my voice back. And you see, the beauty of therapy when you're young is that you don't know that's therapy. I didn't know it was therapy when we played games like Uno, Chutes and Ladders, Hide and Seek. But these games that I play to this day are part of the reason that I'm able to communicate as well as I can today. One of the first words I had to relearn was open. Open the door, open the cabinet, open the fridge. That simple word we use in our everyday lives was a word that took me weeks to relearn. And it would be unrealistic for me to say open was the only word this happened to. But after a lot of perseverance and a little bit of basic sign language, I was able to speak again. And by the age of 5, I went back to telling jokes at family gatherings. I look at those old video clips fondly, knowing that the little girl that couldn't speak made people laugh and eventually became the person on this stage today. So I wanted to thank my speech therapist, Marissa, and my behavioral therapists, David and Jessica, for their perseverance, creativity, and patience. And I want to thank my mom and dad for not giving up on me when I lost my voice. Knowing that they always had my back really helped me get into the confident headspace I'm in today. And I didn't come out of this experience empty-handed. It actually was a big learning process for me. I learned to have a plan and stick to it. Part of that plan included asking and receiving help. And trusting those people and myself that despite setbacks, we will eventually achieve our goals. I also learned to value the simplest things, even like being able to talk, something we do almost every minute of the day, because you'll never know how important it is to you until you lose it. I wasn't always in a confident headspace. At the start of 6th grade, I decided to put my best self out there, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But I wasn't sure how to motivate myself at first. Like I said earlier, I needed a plan. And I literally wrote a checklist out of what I had to do. I read more, wrote more, even my handwriting improved. And that's when I noticed that putting in hard work actually does make an impact on your self-image. So then I started to get my friends and talk to them more, get to know them for who they really are. I practiced boxing more, practiced my form, and that was what really made me confident with my skills. I cared about my appearance more, not to impress anyone. I did it for me. My confident headspace continues to develop and benefit me. With this newfound confidence, I'm able to wake up every day knowing that today will be better than the last. And I am no longer the girl who was afraid to ask for things I wanted. I no longer am the girl who was afraid of how her reputation would be impacted by doing the things that I want to do. I welcome challenges as opportunities to better myself. And by now, you might be wondering, Amelie, how did you lose your voice when you were 2 years old? Well, the truth is, nobody really knows. Not even modern medicine. But even though I do not know all the answers at this moment, I won't let that stop me from challenging myself to do things that have never been done before. I am Amelie Eugenio, the first 6th grader to ever speak at TEDxWhitney. And this will not be the last time you'll hear from me.